So I welcome all of you again, and as we continue to unpack and redefine and just enhance our knowledge on this topic of leadership. It's a widely researched topic, but we are still researching more because we tend to feel there is always something more. But as we'll see today from the leadership, the evolution of leadership, that will be like an eye-opener in terms of some of the answers we are looking for. I think the answers were given a long time ago. So we'll be unpacking that as we'll be looking at the leadership, the evolution of leadership. We are now getting into level 2. We've concluded level 1. And level 1 was focusing on issues of self-awareness. We did quite a lot in terms of personal awareness, growth, the growth models. We remember the 80-20, the iceberg model, how we need to create a balance in terms of our growth. We also discussed the issues of leaders and versus vis-a-vis managers, just to see your strength and to see the opportunities so that we can be able to enhance, especially on areas of leadership, because that is where the future belongs. The more leaders we have, the better future we will have, and the better we're able to project. Just think about Vision 2030 and what it has done to this country. And that comes from leadership. It comes from having leadership that, true leadership, because true leadership will always be anchored on vision and also the welfare of the people. So think about Vision 2030, the benefits that we are enjoying today. If we can have more such leaders who are able to think in that kind of a model or thinking a mindset, then I'm sure we will have better families, as we always say. We'll have better lives as individuals, and even as a nation, we'll be able to continue enhancing our own potential and also improving the living standard of the people within our leadership space. So this is the desire for this program, that we'll have more leaders in our organization, more leaders. In most cases, we realize that managers are quite many in most of these organizations, and that's why we are focusing so much on the bottom line. The results, the profits, they are good, and we need to have profits, we need to have results, but I think we still need to be able to project far and also create an environment where we can be able to focus on the welfare of the people, because the results comes from the people. So we have walked that journey of self-awareness, and we did undertake the test. The test that I shared online. I think most of you undertook the test, and you're able to see your strength and a summary of how you can be able probably to improve the areas you can improve, the strength that you possess. And maybe last time we discussed that, but I remember there are some of us who had not had an opportunity to undertake the test. Maybe you can just listen from one, just one who undertook the test this week. What were the results? And you can just share the experience. Maybe any volunteer, you can just do that.
I actually had made a promise that I will share mine, because I had not done it last week. Sometimes in the course, the previous week, sorry. The course of the week, I went through the so many queries that I had to answer about myself. And what came out about myself, though I don't believe it 100%, because there are some areas that I feel probably I'm not. The test result gave me the verdict of a defender. So I still am challenging myself throughout that test. Probably there are some questions probably I was strong in, others not strong in, but I gave it a verdict. But in all, it gave me the verdict that I am a defender, with the traits of introverted, which is talking of 62%, observant feeling, 57% be feeling over circumstances or people, judging, 58%, being assertive, 60%. So in overall, it gave me the verdict of a defender. I may redo it again to check out whether I answered those questions exactly the way it is and refining myself. I'll keep doing those tests to refine and discover more about myself.
Yeah, and I think, Mr. Asava, from the colors, you belong
Yes.
to the yellow. And I think I can now, I can connect, like why there is that discrepancy in terms of the online and your personal description based on the colors. I think that's where the discrepancies are. We can see the discrepancy. Yeah, because from your own personal awareness, you said you belong to the yellow. And the yellow, I think they're not really introverted. Yeah, the yellows are actually extroverted. They are more outgoing. So maybe you can take the test again.
I may have to do it again.
Yeah.
The areas I answered probably not really describing myself fully. I will redo it again and again.
Yeah. So actually, most of these tools are just indicators. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, based also in terms of how we responded to the questions. So they're just some indicators. Even the colors, they're just indicators. They don't box us into what they really describe us to be. And that's why we said it's a mix. It's a mix. You might find you have a mix of different colors. So let's move on to lesson 7. We look at the evolution of leadership. But before the evolution, we added another category there, which is categories of leadership. It's good to have a historical, just even if it's so brief, a historical evolution of leadership. And also just to have probably some basics on how leadership has evolved, and also these categories that you're talking about. And as we look at the categories, we'll also be picking very important qualities that we can apply. So we're not just looking at the history, but we're also looking at the lessons that we can pick from the history. And as we do this, as we get into the lesson, I'll do a challenge, a very simple challenge. I have some few quotes, and I'll display the quotes, and I'll allow the team to guess who said or who is the author of the quotes. There are around maybe 5 or 6 quotes. So if you know the author, just either unmute or just, I think the chat will be better. Just put on the chat. And the first quote, so the challenge is guess the leader. These are very important quotes. They're also part of the lessons that we can pick. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Who is the author of that quote? Can take the challenge, either unmute or just share on the chat. I think I'll be checking the chat as we. So ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Who is the author of that quote? So I'll take like 2 responses. I can see Mr. Chege, Abraham Lincoln. Let me take one more. And those who have done man enough, I think this one we can get it easy. We can guess it much easily. One more. Thank you, Edwin. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what your country can what you can do for your country. Okay, is there any other attempt? Any other attempt? Just one more. Okay, let's move to the second. So because of time, I'll just move quite fast. Do not wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. Do not wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. Yeah, thank you, Richard. You're saying can relate to Mother Teresa. It's true, that is Mother Teresa. So it's challenging people that sometimes you may wait for a leader that may never appear. So take the initiative and move out and lead. So the first quote is John F. Kennedy, 35th president of the US. And the second quote is by Mother Teresa. Okay, the fourth quote, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, shows the way. This one, I think we've discussed it quite a lot. So we can easily be able to guess who said that. So whose quote is that? A leader is the one who knows the way, shows the way, knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. We can relate that quite easily, I guess so, probably. So whose quote is that? Yeah, thank you, Teacher Justus. That is John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell, he's a guru in this line of leadership. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. That's a wonderful quote. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Who said that? Very strong message to us as leaders, I guess. So if you judge people, you have no time to love them. You can take a guess who said that. You can take a guess. And it's a guess, so it may not be the correct answer. So we can just attempt. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Yeah, that's a similar quote to the previous one of Mother Teresa. So this is Mother Teresa. If you judge people, she really focused on issues of love. So that's why you can see her quotes are more inclined to that direction. Yeah, that's Mother Teresa. Okay, we have this quote. If it falls on you, if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures, like Shakespeare wrote poetry, like Beethoven composed music, sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great sweeper who swept his job well. Who said that? Whose quote is that? It's a very strong message also. Let's take a guess on this also. Okay. Any attempt on this? Any attempt on this quote? It's a very famous person also. Yeah, thank you, Teacher Justus. That is Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. is the one who authored this quote. And then we have this one. A real leader uses every issue, no matter how serious and sensitive, to ensure that at the end of the debate, we should emerge stronger and more united than ever before. This was a president in Africa. And if you think about the presidents that we have had, there is one that his message is more inclined to what we are reading from this quote. A real leader uses every issue, no matter how serious and sensitive, to ensure that at the end of the debate, we should all emerge stronger and more united than before. Said that, can take a guess on this. Can take a guess on this.
Mandela.
Yeah, that's Mandela. That was his line of communication. If you think about what he went through, we can be able to relate this quote to his life and his style of leadership. Then we have, I suppose leadership at one time meant muscles, but today it means getting along with people. Very powerful, very important message. I suppose leadership at one time meant muscles, but today it means getting along with the people. We can take a guess on this.
I relate this to Maxwell. John Maxwell.
John Maxwell. This one is by Mahatma Gandhi. He was an Indian lawyer.
Gandhi.
Yeah. So, and for him, I think if you've read his autobiography, he's one person who used nonviolent strategy to be able to deliver his country. So that's why his language is inclined to this kind of quote. It's not about muscle, but it means getting along with people. So I just felt just to build, or as we discuss these issues of evolution and issues of how leadership has evolved, just to be able to get a feel of the message from some of the leaders that we have seen and some of them that we have read about, and we really appreciate the kind of work they did, and we are able to acknowledge the messages that they left behind, and even for those who are still there, the message that they are still propagating to us who are leaders. So we'll have two parts in lesson 7. First, we look at the 3 categories of leadership, and then we look at the evolution of leadership. So basically, from a historical perspective, leadership has been categorized into 3 domains. There's political leadership, and we have the military leadership, and we have the religious leadership. So this is the birthplace of leadership, and most of the strategies will be able to either align them to these 3 areas of leadership. There might be more, but these are the core 3 categories of leadership. So I'll just share a brief on each of them, very, very brief. And for the political leadership, we say it's a function. That's why we keep on changing leaders, but the function remains. Like in the case of Kenya, after 5 years, we have another leader taking up the function. So it's not really a position, it's a function. And in case of our country, it's obtained through election. It's not through formal authorization, but it's through election, which is like a democratic system for our case. So different countries have their own, they have different systems. But the most important point here is this is a function, not a position. And what is their role? Political leadership involves the issues of mobilization of the political community so that they can be able to formulate problem, identify problem, formulate problem diagnosis, and also the strategies to be able to address those challenges. So in most cases, I think we have had announcements of stakeholders, engagements, because as a political leader, you are there to just to operate within the function, and as well as to address the issues that are affecting the community. So the challenges are coming from the community, and it's the same community that will be able to propose some of the solutions that they feel are appropriate to their problems or their challenges. So this is just a brief on the political. There are some qualities that are expected from a political leader. And there are 10 most expected qualities that we look at for a good political leader. And I think as we discuss this, let's also think about ourselves in terms of these qualities. This is what we expect from the political leaders, but how about ourselves? Are we aligned to these qualities that we'll highlight here? So we are talking about patriotism. Are our politicians patriotic? Are we patriotic as leaders? I've been to some countries where they really treasure their own country. They treasure, even the government treasures its own people. Like the interest of the people is so keen by the government. And you realize those people, even as you engage with them, they're just talking about their country. I like in case of US, if you listen to the language of most of the leaders, especially those patriotic leaders in US, they really place the country first. So in terms of patriotism, I don't know how we can gauge the political leadership. We will share on the chart just to be able to see where are the gaps in terms of these 10 qualities. Then good education. Now there are debates about the degree. Maybe that is where good education can fit. Honesty. We have political professionalism, charisma, intelligence, responsibility, the strength of character, service to the people, and bravery. They might be very strong in some areas, and there are areas that are wanting. So maybe from your own reflection, which areas do we feel are wanting in the political leadership and in our political leaders? The areas that we feel are wanting, and also you can mention even the areas that we feel they are strong. As we also think about ourselves. So maybe we can have just one for the interest of time.
I can look at the service, service to the people. If I compare our politicians, the ones majority I know of, I don't think they are really strong on the part of serving the people. One is most of the time when we have election and after election, you find politicians are using a lot of their resources or even resources they have gotten from other sources. Immediately they get elected. The first thing to do is, how do I recover what I have used in my campaign? So you find they converge together, they strategize on how to get the best salaries out of the exchequer. So you find I'm more inclined on what do I get? What are the tenders that I'm going to get? What are the things that I'm going to get for myself? And they don't think really more about the people who have elected them. When you look at the professionalism, political professionalism, yes, it could be having some, but not all. Political professionalism, you'll find that people who, when they go to parliament, they cocoon themselves on how to make deals work for them. So you find that there are more of, you hear of tender deals. So they have a way of how to amass, how to, get the tenders for particular group, for relatives or for themselves or for particular persons. So that is really wanting. Honesty, I don't think that is really to all of them. A good number, they are not honesty. Yeah, not honesty. So I'll rest on some of the areas that I find our politicians not really good at.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sava. I can see on the chat also we have some you are saying honesty, just as you are saying education, and they need to improve in that. Richard, patriotism, service to people, intelligence, honesty. Chege, you're talking about character, strength of character, and Fred, political professionalism. Yeah, as we look at them, I think also let's think about who elects them, who elects these people. So they are product of the people. We are the ones who elect them. And you see a system will always output quality, the same quality. In computer, in IT, we say
garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage out. And that's why these discussions are very, very important as part of awareness to us as leaders, and also awareness to the people that we might be leading around us, so that we be able to work on this system from whatever angles that we are able, the opportunities that we have around us. Yeah, so that we will work towards a better output. Actually, we are thinking about cascading this program even to primary schools and high schools, because unless we go down that far, then we may not be able to affect the system to a great extent. So if we start that low, then we can be able to have a better output. By the time because most of these people they start leadership at very early stage. You'll find some of them were leaders in the universities, some of them were leaders in high schools, but they were not equipped. They just displayed some qualities and they were appointed to be leaders. So we feel that to really address this system, we need to make us to take so many steps backward and look very far in terms of having a better output, probably even if not now, in a few years to come. So that's our challenge. That's our challenge, as also we look at these qualities against ourselves. Now, let me just move on to the military leadership. This is very important. There is quite a lot that we can pick from military leadership. And I think when it comes to issues of service, this is one area that we really see servanthood, we see courage, we see sacrifice. And we're saying in military leadership, it's about influencing and directing men in such a manner to be able to obtain their. Very important here is willing obedience. Willing obedience, respect, confidence, and loyal cooperation so that we can be able to accomplish a mission. So the willingness must come from something. For people to follow willingly, there has to be something that influences them to do that. It's for the respect to be there, for the confidence to be there, there must be something that is really igniting people to be able to work with you. And we are saying also is a process of influencing, but how do they influence in the military leadership? We influence people to accomplish, one, there is a very specific mission. And also there is a sense of purpose and vision and the aspect of motivation. The chain of command comes in very strong when it comes to issues of military leadership. But I think the key issue here is that as we lead people, the mission must be very clear. What is the mission? That must be very clear. That ignites also a sense of purpose and also motivation. Yeah, I like sharing the story of the children of Israel from Egypt to Canaan. That was a mission. It was a mission. And it was so clear until these people decided to follow Moses to a journey that was not clear. But the way it was communicated, the way the picture was painted of where they were going, I think even if you are there, you would have joined this guy. Because he's talking about a land of your own, and here you are in slavery. He's talking about a land that is flowing with milk and honey, and here probably you're just eating some leftovers. You are eating some food that is really not interesting. So this promise, this hope, this message of hope ignited and triggered the Israelites to be able to walk in this journey. So the mission must be very clear. The purpose must be very clear. And also people must be able to visualize where they're heading to. For the Vision 2030, when we started discussing this, we could see the highways in designs. We used to see some of this and they looked like they were too far away. But now we can see the highways in real life. We can see the superhighway and other highways, but at some point they were just in our mind. So for military, this is core. And some of the factors of this leadership, we are saying there is the led, the person that is being led, or the followers, the leader, the situation, and also the communication. And I think these factors are also very important to us. People must understand this, clearly know who you are leading, and you as a leader, and in what situation are you leading the people, and how do we engage in terms of communication? Because for the military leadership, communication is critical. It can be, if it's not handled well, it can result to crisis and even to death. Some of the principles of leadership, and I think here we can be able to pick a number that are applicable to us. One is know yourself and seek self-improvement. Yeah, that's why we are here as leaders. Be technically and tactically proficient. So the two areas, technically, probably in your area, and also tactically in terms of strategies, in terms of approaches. And then seek responsibility and take responsibility for your actions. So you must be responsible, make sound and timely decisions. Very, very important when it comes to making sound and timely decisions. We have seen what has happened with the COVID-19, especially when you're dealing with these critical areas, the issues of war, the issues of health, then it has to be very timely. Set the example, know your soldier and look out for their welfare, keep your subordinate informed, that is communication, then develop a sense of responsibility in your subordinate, ensure that the task is understood, there has to be clarity, supervised and accomplished, and then build the team. It's about teamwork, employ your unit in accordance with its capabilities. So those are some of the principles. I'll share the PowerPoint so you'll be able to look at them. Then they have some traits like knowledge, must be knowledgeable, especially if you're going out for a mission, you really need to be knowledgeable, both even about your enemies, courage, initiative, decisiveness, tact, justice, and also dependability. Am I able to cover the other soldier? Can the other soldier depend on me? So this is important when it comes to military leadership. So there is quite a lot we can discuss on this, and maybe as we go for the breakout sessions, we can engage on a few areas that we can be able to pick from the military leadership. So other traits are bearing, endurance, enthusiasm, and selfishness. You know you can die, but you still go on for the mission. Integrity, loyalty, and judgment. Then finally, in the three levels of leadership, that we have the religious leadership. This is important, and I think most of us are in this line. So we are saying as a religious leader, you give hope, you provide guidance, courage, so that people are able to stay strong in their faith. So hope, guidance, and also courage to ensure that people are strong in faith. And the best model is Jesus Christ himself. If you look at the scriptures, the Bible, in Luke 2:52, talks about the growth of Jesus. He grew in wisdom, in knowledge, in stature, and he grew in favor with men and God. Yeah, so just that's the best example that we always refer to. And for religious leaders, the leadership is about transforming relationship. In this case, the leader invests in the growth and development of the followers. So there's a lot of investment and empowering them so that they become what God has gifted them to be. So it's not cloning them, but it's about helping them to discover themselves, to discover their potential, to discover their giftings, and then we provide an environment to be able to help them maximize what they have. So we empower them, we empower the people to own and also to embark on a mission. The important traits here: shepherd leadership, servant leadership, humility, relationship, and stewardship. Relationships is very important because when it comes to religious leadership, you will find in most cases this is a voluntary area of leadership. You are there voluntarily. So you are leading people who are voluntarily following you. So they can choose to follow or they can choose not to follow. It's not position-based, it's not authority-based. You know, in the formal sector, a leader has some authority or a manager has some authority. So you can use the authority to be able to influence people. But in religious leadership, use relationships to influence people. And this makes it very different. The others can also apply this, but in the religious leadership, the core here is the issues of relationships. So I just need to highlight this to help us appreciate the three categories of leadership and also pick up a few lessons that we can able to pick and integrate in our own life. Now let's conclude lesson 7 by looking at part B, the evolution of leadership. We have looked at this in the book review, so even if I don't get into so much details, I'm sure you have gone through and you also have some ideas on the theories that you're going to look at. So leadership has evolved, as I said, for centuries. We started from the great man theory and we have moved all the way. You're talking about servanthood, you're talking about transformational leadership, and this has been a journey. And I think it's just good to have an idea on how each of these theories, the philosophies behind these theories. Sometimes you have heard the questions of are leaders made or are leaders born? Those are philosophies that were crafted by some philosophers, by some leaders, the earlier leaders. So, and they address those issues differently. And each, you will see from the theories, as you have already seen, each philosopher believed different. They had their different beliefs, but we have continued to evolve. The beliefs have continued to evolve. And if you look at the great man theory, for him, this is Thomas and 1840s. He believes that leaders are born, not made. So that was this was the belief of this kind of the thinking about leadership. So great leaders will arise when there is a great need. So they are born natural leaders, and they have the inbuilt qualities of leadership. So if you needed a leader, then you needed to look for someone with these qualities. And if someone did not display these qualities, then that person is not categorized as a leader. So this is what this theory talks about. The trait theory focuses on the same, that leaders are born, not made. So the issues of traits, the leaders are born with some particular character traits or quality, yes, which are suited with leadership. So if you have these qualities, then you are a leader. So the theory assumes that if you could identify the people with those correct traits, then you are able to identify the leader. So there's some alignment with the first theory and the second theory. The skills theory, there is a bit of a shift here. The skills theory, let's look at the skills theory. So it's talking about to be a leader. According to this theory, you need technical skills in your domain. So if my domain is in IT, then I need that technical skills. People skills, conceptual skills, which is the ability to see the big picture and think strategically. This is important even to us now and very relevant. Then we have the style theory of leadership. So the style here, we are talking about democratic, autocratic, and the other styles of leadership. I'll give you just a brief on the styles. So that's basically what the style theory of leadership talks about, that you fit into a certain category of, or you possess a particular style, or you demonstrate a particular style as a leader. So there are leaders who are democratic, there are leaders who are autocratic, there are transformational leaders, there are laissez-faire leaders, and strategic leaders. So you'll just be able to see where do you fit as a leader. Then we have situational theory. And for this theory, it talks about there's no one model that fits all situations. So there are particular styles, particular traits that will fit in one situation, but not in another. And therefore, the leader must therefore adapt. So the key word here is to adapt to the situation. The same leader leading in different situations. But for the contingency theory, it talks about picking the right leader for the situation rather than leader adapting to the situation. So in this case, if the situation changes, then you change the leader. The leader does not adapt. So this is what Fred Fielder believed as based on his theory of the contingency theory. So effective leadership is contingent on matching the leader's style to the setting. Now, just very briefly on the styles, the style theory of leadership, there are these 4 styles: the autocratic leadership, and this is where leadership is centered around a leader. And in case of leadership, or in case of decision making, in case of probably providing the vision, they are all centered around the leader. So the leader has the final say in terms of, in this case, of autocratic leadership. But for democratic leadership, which is also referred to as participative leadership, then it's a team. Focus on the team. Decision making is shared. Ideas are shared. So it's more of working together. It's more of people take the day. For the transformational leadership, for this case, it's about modeling. So the leader is able to model, is able to give guidance. But again, as we are saying, the issue of inspiration is key here. So the leaders model the behavior that they expect to see. They're able to set goals and expectation, while at the same time supporting emotionally and guiding the people. So issues of inspiration are key. For laissez-faire leadership, it's a hands-off leadership. So the authority is shared with the people, including the other roles like goal setting and problem solving. So if you look at the areas of focus, just look at this picture here, the leadership styles and how they are inclined in terms of the task and in terms of the people. For autocratic leadership, it's more inclined on the task and low in terms of emphasizing on the people. For transformation, is high in terms of the people, you focus on the people, but it's low in terms of how you emphasize on the task. For democratic, it's high in terms of the task and also high in terms of the people focus. So I think that gives us just a glimpse of the styles theory of leadership. For the situational leadership, there are also some styles under situational leadership, and therefore primarily leadership styles. One of them is telling style of leadership. And in this case, the leader tells people what to do, just as the word is. The selling, the leader sells. The leader is able to get the buy-in from the members or from the people. Participative leadership, the leader offers less direction and allows people of the group to be able to take more active role and also contribute in terms of making decisions and also the ideas. And then we have the delegating style of leadership. So this is also hands-off approach to leadership. Now, For the styles, we can match them with the maturity level. So if you are leading a team, if you're able to identify the maturity level of your team, then you're able to identify which is the appropriate style to apply. For example, the telling works with a team of maturity level 1. And what does maturity level 1 mean? The group members lack the knowledge, the skills, and also willingness to complete the task. So here you really have to tell, and you really have to be hands-on. For selling, it's maturity level 2, where group members are willing, they're enthusiastic, but they lack the ability. So here you can sell and guide the team. Participating, maturity level 3, where group members have the skills and the capability to complete the task, but they are unwilling to take responsibilities. Then delegating style will work well for maturity level 4, where group members are highly skilled and willing to be able to undertake the responsibility. So I just felt just to unpackage these two styles, these two theories, the style theory and also the situational theory, just to give us some more insight into what they talk about and some of the subcategories. Now, let me conclude with the other theories. We have transactional leadership, where people follow a leader based on incentives in place, or based on necessity. If there is something that we are transacting, if there is a business we are transacting, then we relate at that particular time. And once the task is completed, the relationship stops. Yeah, so the role of the leader is to find the right mix of rewards and sanction, and then to be able to monitor. Transformational leadership, this is very important to us as global leaders. And we are saying, as a transformational leader, we are focusing on cultivating followership rather than paying for it or punishing non-compliance. And McGregor Barnes, he theorized this theory by talking about transformational leadership is actually a process where leaders interact with their followers, and a very important word, inspire each other to be able to advance together. Then finally, we have the leader-member exchange theory. So for this theory, the leader success is based on a fair exchange between the leader and the member. And there are 3 areas, or there are 3 dimensions for this theory. There is the issue of mutual respect. It's based on mutual respect of each other's capability, deepening or a deepened sense of reciprocal trust. We trust each other, and a strong sense of obligation to one another in the working relationship. Yeah, so it's more of a give and take. So the mutual respect brings the two together, and according to this theory, then that is how the leader and the members are able to relate in that kind of a leadership setup. So finally, we have the servanthood leadership, or the servant leadership theory. And this is a timeless concept. As much as we are putting it in 1970s by Robert Greenleaf, it's timeless. It's an approach that has been there for centuries. And in this case, we are saying the servant leader is a servant first, then a leader. Focus on issues of being served, creates an environment of trust and cooperation, reciprocal service, and ultimately it results to higher performance. Actually, where there is servant leadership, you might find higher performance, higher productivity, and even higher profit. So people follow out of love and gratitude rather than compulsion or fear. And the best model here is basically Jesus Christ. And we are saying such leaders, they lead through inspiration rather than manipulation, control, or threats. Look at the example of Jesus and how he called out the disciples. And you can see the high level of influence. And I think probably they looked at the best interest that Jesus had in heart for them, and maybe other factors that we have looked at from this description. And that was able to influence them to be able to follow Jesus. Then as a global leader, we are saying as a global leader, me and you as a global leader, as we think global lead local for global transformation, then we need to embrace a mix of transformational leadership, ambidextrous leadership, which I'll mention briefly, and servant leadership. And also we need to anchor this on purpose-driven leadership qualities. So those are just some of the areas that we need to a hybrid of qualities that we need to work on to enhance more. Transformational leadership, you're talking about being very inspiring. Ambidextrous, I'll mention that. Servanthood, you're talking about create an environment where people are able to follow out of love, out of gratitude, out of trust, out of reciprocal service, that we are here to serve you. Yeah, where people are able to have a sense of purpose and be able to engage willingly in terms of offering leadership. Now, ambidextrous leadership, which is also a mix of what I've mentioned, is important to us as global leader. This word, ambidexterity, it's a Latin word. It means the ability to use both the left and the right hand equally. Yeah. So ambidextrous leadership is a leadership style in which the leader possesses these two qualities. The qualities are which one? For example, I'll give some example here. A dual focus leadership approach that works towards what is best for individual and what is best for the organization. So that is two hands. We're looking at the best interest of the individual and the best interest of organization. That's what we can contextualize this ambidextrous leadership to the global leadership scenario. So I look at those two approaches. The other areas is to look or explore new opportunities, but at the same time exploiting existing ones. So those are two hands. Ambidextrous, again, we are saying explore long-term goals while serving short-term goals. So those are the two approaches. We can apply it in so many other areas where we need to have the true sense of using both hands in terms of contextualizing. Think about Nehemiah when they were building, where they had one hand for building, on the other hand, they were holding weapon just to be able to protect themselves. And so many other examples where we can be able to embrace and apply this ambidextrous leadership. So basically, that's just a highlight of the theories of leadership, the theories and the evolution of leadership, as well as the three categories of leadership. Yeah, so I trust you've been able to follow and be able to highlight a few areas that can be able to guide us in our discussions. Yeah, so let me know if we are together. Just show a thumbs up or just unmute and say hi. I think we may not go for breakout session now. I'm looking at time and we need to give chairman also some good time. But if you're there, just wave at me as part of also stretching as we prepare to get to the other session. Yes, so we are together. We're together. You can show thumbs up or high up or just say jambo. Yeah, thank you, Bona Edwin. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. See, we are flowing together. Good. So we will see if we can have the breakout session at the end. But maybe you can just take a minute as we change the, I bring up the presentation for chairman. Just take a minute to stretch up a bit and then we move on with the second session. Just 1 minute just to stretch out and then we continue. Good. So here we are. And I just want to welcome Chairman, Mr. Gidiomi. Mr. Gidiomi was in cohort 9. I undertook the course and we really had very good discussions. And I'm sure even tonight, we're going to have very good discussions as we work together in lesson 8. So allow me to just let in Mr. Chairman just to be able to proceed from there. Maybe Chairman.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you very much. Is the screen, can it be seen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So as Joseph has mentioned, we are going now to the next lesson, lesson number 8, leadership development phases. We are going to see how the leadership develops, just like, a child starts and then develops, then becomes mature, and then is able to give back. The book by Bill George, we note that leadership is something you are born with, and leadership requires constant development and growth. Leadership is a journey with 3 distinct phases. So these are the phases. I think let me put it on PowerPoint. So these are the 3 distinct phases of leadership. The first one is preparing for leadership. This is before you lead. Then the second one is the leading phase. And the third one is where you give back. You give back to the society. You give back to those who are coming after you to do the leading. And on my right, we have the qualities of an authentic leader. He leads with the heart. He leads compassionately. He leads with a purpose. He has values. He develops relationships and is self-disciplined. So the 3 phases of leadership, as we said, the phase 1 is that you prepare for leadership through character development. That is the first phase of preparing for leadership. You prepare for it through character development. This is what we call self-development. And also on my right, you can see the curve that we have. There is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and how we are climbing up. So character development is actually you distinct, or you know what makes you consistent. It's like infrastructure that you build within yourself. If you look at somebody like David, when he was told that he is going to lead, way back, in the Bible, he was anointed for leading. The first thing that God did upon his life is to take him through a process where he went through a difficult moment so that he can develop himself. Because in leadership, you'll be elevated to certain positions that will really call for you to be self-disciplined, so that even the success that you'll be ushered into doesn't destroy you. So it is during this phase 1 that you develop that character, and you will know that you are there, or rather you are reading as as a privilege, so that you will not be my way or it's for me. You will not be self-centered. So you develop a character during phase 1. In phase 2 is where the phase that you do the leading itself. You start leading by taking initiative, embracing new challenges until you reach the peak of your leadership. Actually, if you look at the curve, it's clear there is also up and downs, but finally you keep on winning by taking initiative and embracing new challenges. Yeah, that's what the leadership will entail. Then you finally, when you reach the peak, you reach what phase 3. the final part of leadership journey, you start seeking opportunities to spread your leadership wisdom to others and give back to the community, even through learning, even through the learning process. It also continues. So you can actually see at the top there is generativity, and you are giving back and what you have accumulated over the wisdom and what you have learned. You are able to give it to those who are coming after you, and also to that which you have built to continue to grow, to maintain that momentum. So let's note those. Those are the three phases of leadership development. Again, this leadership can also be illustrated. We have an illustration here of an aeroplane taking off. It shows the different stages of leadership. And about 7 stages. There is what we call flight planning, pushback, takeoff, and then you are up there in the air. You can actually see the plane is there, up there, no much struggle. That is in the cruise, oceanic cruise. Then it starts going down. Then there is what we call the final approach and landing. Those are the 7 stages. And you can actually see as this plane takes off at the beginning, if you have had an opportunity to go to the airport or when you are boarding a plane, you know they do a lot of preparation, a lot of checking. That plane is checked everything, including the oil. Is it enough? I mean the fuel, is it enough? The oil, is it enough? Do we have enough oxygen in the plane? All those preparations, they go on ticking them, because that plane requires a lot of energy to take off. Because as we are told, the power you develop at the beginning is what will sustain it up there in the air, because up there now there'll be very little struggle. So you require a lot of energy. And again, as you remember what we said, during the phase 1, you do a lot of mainly the character development. That is where you develop yourself as a person. And then once you take off, you now lead. You know, if you are a leader of the organization, lead of a group, you lead. Then again, at the peak of your leading, you start descending. Now, where we have the descent, again, you require a lot of energy as you descend, and you give back that which you have accumulated over the many years. So you give back wisdom, knowledge, and all that, you know, all that which you have accumulated. So if you can relate with this, it's very clear that is like the cycle, how we move on, how we move in leadership. And then, of course, throughout this journey, you mentor and you have, you know, succession plans. Maybe a good challenge for each one of us. Maybe some of us are in the flight planning, pushback. Others are in the cruise up there. I don't know, where would you relate yourself? Maybe as we move on, because of time, let's put it in the chat. Maybe you can hear 1 or 2 reactions where you think, where you are accepting yourself. Have you taken off, or are you still in the flight planning? A reaction? Just a minute.
Yes, hello, Peter.
Yes, Bwana Fred Mutunga.
Fred. Yeah, this is Fred. This is a very explanation, and the flight theory clearly explains the different stages of leadership.
Okay.
On my personal level, okay, I've been in different leadership positions, especially at at my work, that is in my career.
Okay.
But having checked
Mhm.
this explanation and clearly understanding what you've explained,
Yes.
I'm taken aback. That like I'm taken aback, and I've just realized I'm at the takeoff point. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is where you are developing a lot of energy to sustain you
Yes.
up there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's good. That's good. You have done your self-assessment.
Yes.
Sawa. Any one more reaction? Any other? Or you are still, oh, there is in the chat. Oh, okay. I've seen. Actually, Richard says he is also in the takeoff. The other one with an iPhone is takeoff. I think it's clear a good number are in the takeoff. And I think probably that explains why you are in this class. It's part of what to equip you for the next phase of leadership. That is where you'll be leading. There are three cornerstones of leadership development we are going to look at. The first one, as we said, is character development or self-leadership. Being authentic and true to yourself and your values. Self-awareness and identity. This forms the foundation of leadership, determines sustainability and stability of the rest of the phases. Remember this quote by Nelson Mandela: "Until I change myself, I could not change others." So what at this cornerstone in the first phase, the aim here is to know yourself, because until you yourself, you can lead yourself, you develop a strong character, you cannot be able to lead others. So it is through self-leadership that we are able to lead others. I remember also when we were doing this lesson, what came out very strong, it is like when you are giving a sermon or giving a direction to somebody, unless you have been who you are telling that person, you are directing that person that have been there, you cannot comfortably tell that person. Just like when you are giving a direction, you cannot tell somebody, I know that town where you are looking for, until you have been there and you can be able to direct that person. Or you come on to somebody, unless that someone has worked on you and you actually approach, so you are speaking out of conviction. You are speaking out of conviction. So the first cornerstone there is self-development. Second, leading through conviction. Doing right things based on principles and moral force, maximizing influence, inspiration, and impact. Whenever this word conviction is mentioned, one or two people come to somebody like in the Bible, Daniel, that he had his boundaries. He knew what his life principles are. He knew where he cannot go beyond. He knows that this is whom I am. Even if somebody evil tells me to do ABCD, I cannot do this. So we need to have those, what do you call, like markers. We cannot go beyond this. This is our values. This is my principles. So we really need we fix those convictions that will be leading our lives. Then number three, thinking of generativity, where you give back knowledge, skills, expertise, transfer. Yeah, you are passing on the baton. This is always a challenge to every leadership, and I'm sure as we have also been doing the book review, this comes out very strongly, that one cannot succeed unless what you have, that direction that you have been pointing people to, you are able to package it and give it back. either in terms of knowledge, in terms of the skill, or you transfer the expertise, what you have learned. So those are the three cornerstones of leadership development. Levels of leadership. Again, we have personal leadership, that's the first one. We have emerging leadership, team leadership, and business leadership. At the personal leadership, personal strengths and traits, ability to lead and manage oneself in becoming highly effective person. That is on yourself. Then when we come to emerging leadership, is where you are leading others in a team. Team leadership is where you are leading other leaders. Strengthen the leadership skills to lead a team of managers. Then business leadership is where you are leading a business. So in that business, you are leading people, and also you are leading the vision of that company. Like when you are leading an organization like church, or if you are head of a church, you are leading a bank, you are actually now leading the business, and at the same time you are also leading the people or the teams that you are with. So lead the business leadership, lead business functions as well as people to achieve overall business goals. The principle of self-leadership, if you cannot lead yourself, you will never be able to lead others. I think this has been quite emphasized in this lesson, and I think generally the whole leadership course, you'll always hear this, self-leadership. If you cannot lead yourself, you will never be able to lead others. So I think self-leadership is foundational. This is in our manual now, page 42. Sorry. No, this is page 41. Self-leadership is foundational form of leadership of the 4 levels of leadership. Self-leadership is inside out. So you from your inside, from your own convictions, you already convinced that whatever I'm telling these people, or whatever the team that you are telling them is possible, you are already sold out. So as you tell them, you already bought it. So that's why it is inside out leadership. The inside out approach to leadership development ensures that leaders and leadership teams become more intentional, influential, and impactful. This is achieved by developing self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-efficacy or self-belief. So I think that's the same thing repeated there, that you are sold out. Like if you are coming, you are offering yourself for a certain position, let's say even elective position as a member of parliament or MC, you can already paint a picture. You yourself, you have already bought that picture, that I have the plan for these people, I can already see it, and this is how it is going to work. So the first person who should have bought that vision is yourself. Self-belief and self-efficacy. I think those are the same levels, but here now we have an extra one, strategic leadership, personal, team leadership, business leadership, and then we have strategic leadership. The strategic leadership is the ability to influence others, to voluntarily make decisions that enhance the prospects for the organization's long-term success while maintaining the short-term financial stability. So strategic, you are thinking ahead, long-term, but also you are taking care of the short-term stability of that company, so that you are looking at the sustainability of the company. Strategic leadership refers to a manager's potential to express a strategic vision for the organization or a part of the organization, and to motivate and persuade others to acquire that vision. So So here we have, remember from the previous slide, we have personal leadership, leading yourself, emerging leadership, leading a team, team leadership, leading leaders, business leadership, leading an organization and people, and then we have strategic leadership. So you are grabbing on, moving to the next level, and you cannot be a strategic leader if you have not started from down there from a personal leader, and then you climb up. You keep on moving upwards. There is also this model by John Maxwell. John Maxwell, I'm sure now you have heard him many times. He is a leadership guru. This is how he defined levels of leadership. He came up with 5 of them. And what he defined is, there is the very first position where, because of your position, people have no choice. They will follow you. That is what we call, they'll follow you by right. People follow you because they believe they have to. Yani ni lazima. They have found themselves and they'll be calling you boss. Yeah, they'll be calling you boss. Level 2 is where you are leading by permission. You have now generated relationship and people will follow you because they want to. So there is no more being forced. Now you have already developed a relationship with them. Then the third level is production level, and they can actually see the results of following you. People follow you because of what you have done for the organization. The results are speaking for themselves. So now you are already being, your results are selling you to your team. Then the fourth level is people development. There is reproduction. People will follow you because of what you have done for them. There is actually what, again, the results are showing. You are reproducing. And then the fifth level, the pinnacle, people will follow you for their respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. They can already see your course. They can already see where your heart is and where you are taking them. You have already convinced them that there is a cause or there is a reason why they should follow you. So those are the levels John Maxwell has defined as the levels of leadership. So we can actually see the progression from the position where they follow you, and because it's a must, because you have been put there as their boss, up to the very level, the pinnacle, where they respect you. They can already see your heart and where you are taking them, and they have already bought into the vision. Levels of leadership. This is on page 12. Self-confident. I'm trying to.
I guess it's in page 42.
This is page 42, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, at the top, you are right, where it's written A. So self-awareness is about knowing your intentions and values, as well as knowing your strengths, abilities, and weaknesses. I think this has come out very clearly. You know yourself, and you actually have also weighed yourself and seen the uniqueness in your quality or in your values. Part of knowing yourself is, if you look at your journey, maybe probably from when you are young up to where you are, your school system, your course, your neighborhood, the kind of family that you have, the kind of associations that you have, friends, workplace. If you combine all these, there is a direction, or you'll actually see a certain picture of a person's self-awareness. You'll actually see it's like you are being molded for a certain cause. So it's about knowing you, and then you know the values that that define your life. Self-confidence comes from knowing your strengths and abilities. As we take action and develop skills, we become more confident. The more I've noted, the more you know yourself, the more you know that what you have you cannot fail, or you are so unique and probably nobody else around you has what you have. That knowing of your uniqueness, that knowing that you cannot fail, or that knowing that even if we are seated with you, or we are in the same house, or we are in the same church, there is something God has given me that probably I am here because of this. That knowing that your uniqueness gives you self-confidence. Self-efficacy is the belief that whatever comes our way, we can handle it. We can take the feedback, accept, adjust, and advance. With self-efficacy, we can be more creative and innovative. So actually, if you look at all that, you'll actually see the of confidence. Further on the levels of leadership, we have the author of a leader who had no title, Robin Sharma, notes that winning in these times of revolutionary change demands revolutionary leadership model, creating an environment and culture where everyone needs to show leadership. So in whatever place you find yourself in, we need to show leadership. We need to take initiative. You'll actually see in all these situations, they are like yearning for us to show leadership. Everyone drives innovation. We need to like give a direction or a solution to whatever is happening. Everyone inspires teammates. Everyone embraces change. We need everyone takes responsibility for the results. Everyone leads through positive thinking, and everyone devotes to expressing their absolute best. We need to show leadership, to drive innovation, inspire teammates, embrace change, take responsibility for the results, lead through positive thinking, and devote to express, everyone devotes to express their absolute best. In these revolutionary times, everyone can be a self-leader to lead self and others. I've noted, sorry, there is a page I skipped. Sorry, I think I've noted there is a page I skipped. Sorry, and that is on page, that is on page 41. Sorry, there is a page, sorry, I skipped. Self-leadership is foundation. Sorry, page 42. Page 42 at the bottom there. Qualities and characters of self-leadership. I think that's one page I skipped. Kindly let's go back there. I'm sure you have located it.
Yeah.
Yes, self-leadership is the foundation of any leadership development. Self-leadership is the process by which you influence yourself to achieve your objectives linked to your vision. There are those gaps. I'm sure you'll be able to fill them. Then number 3, qualities of self-leadership. Number 3 is that self-leadership is based on intentional choices. By being intentional, we live a life of choice. Intentions means that whatever you do, you are planned for it, and you know the reason why you are doing it. Number 4, self-leaders are self-motivated and intrinsically motivated to take purposeful action and therefore make better leaders, entrepreneurs, and team members. So, as we said, the push comes from inside us, that we are already sold out, we are already convinced whatever we are standing for, it is going to be possible. So that push comes from inside us. So self-leadership determines effectiveness and impact of team leadership, business leadership, and strategic leadership. Further on the qualities of self-leadership, self-leadership develops autonomy, that is the owner of choice, which leads to greater responsibility and accountability. Please note the word responsibility and accountability. We require to be accountable, where whatever we do, it's open. People can see what we are doing. You are not hiding. You are not, it's like you are not living two lives. So your life is like an open book. You can be able to be held to accountable. Self-leadership is modeling leadership in our health, demonstrating leadership in our families, reflecting leadership around our finances, and living leadership within our organizations and community. So what we are saying is the way you are leading yourself, you become like a model, how the organization will be run. So you are like a mini, how you lead the organization, your life is already taking that same direction. You are like a mirror. If you say that you need, you are like a servant, you are modeling servant leadership. We need to see that from you, the way you are leading your own life. And then you can be able to transfer that to the organization. Self-leaders constantly develop self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-belief. I think we had already done that. I think as we come to the end, maybe we have here next, what do you call, we need to evaluate our self-leadership. Where are we? Based on the self-leadership qualities and identify areas of improvement. Having gone through that lesson, I think it's important to also go back again and try to digest it, those 3 phases: preparing for leadership, phase 1, phase 2, leading, and phase 3, giving back. Let's evaluate our self-leadership based on the qualities and identify areas of improvement. And then maybe during our discussions, we can be able to reflect on this. So I don't know whether there is a reaction as we come to the end before I bring in Joseph to continue from here. Maybe something that maybe a take home from these 3 phases of development that we have learned. And I hope I'm clear. I'm seeing my network on this side showing me it's weak. I hope it was clear. Or a take home. Wow, thank you, Joseph. I think maybe because of time, Joseph, kindly take over and take us to the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman. You were clear. We followed keenly. And
Okay.
thank you for the simplicity of your presentation and very precise. I think in addition to the leadership challenge that we are undertaking in terms of the self-leadership qualities, let's also think about John Maxwell's levels of leadership, from the position, permission, production, people development, and pinnacle. Just think about that. Where are you? Are you leading based on position? Is it based on permission? Based on production, people development, or pinnacle? And I'm sure all of us will aim to be at pinnacle. So if you know where you are, then we'll be able to work on how do I graduate or progress to the next level. And as you can note, the emphasis is so much on self-leadership because this is the foundation. In the manual, there is a quote by Mother Teresa, and she says, "If everyone would sweep their own doorstep, the whole world will be clean." That is on page 43. So we are saying in the same note, I believe if everyone will lead themselves with the commitment to make positive impact, the whole world will experience positive influence and impact. So it's important to take note that self-leadership is core because of the impact that it can have within our environment. And that's why we keep on emphasizing on this. As much as we are still learning new aspects, but we still want to go back to the foundation because the foundation is self-leadership. So just take this challenge, take the time to think about it, reflect on what we have discussed. We may not have time today to discuss in groups, but to your own time, just take some time to think about this. Also, there's additional materials in the manuals. So if you can review the manual based on our the plan that we have, that in every session you get some time before the next session to review the manual, there is more information that you'll be able to get from the manual. So I just want to post there in terms of the two lessons, level 7 and level 8, lesson 7 and lesson 8. Let's now focus more on reviewing those two lessons as we embark and prepare for the leadership challenge and for the book review over the coming week. Otherwise, I have two announcements. One is on Saturday, coming Saturday, we are having a leadership forum for all Global Leadership Network members. So we'll not have a class on Saturday, but we'll have a forum where we'll have some speakers or discussant discussing a certain topic that we have identified, and all of us will be able to plug in and make our contribution. So I'll be able to share the details in the course of the week. So please take note, on 17th, we'll not have the class, but we'll have a leadership forum, and we'll discuss very important issues that will be able to help us better our leadership. Again, on 14th of August, we are preparing for a leadership retreat and graduation for cohort 7, cohort 8, 9, and 10. They will be graduating on that day. But the same time, we'll have a moment of networking and retreating and having some team building experience. This retreat is mostly focusing on the cohorts that I've mentioned because of the graduation, but we are opening it up for any other member of a different cohort to be able to join in, so that we can go out there, especially us who are meeting online. It will be an opportunity to be able to meet physically and also to be able to meet with other cohorts members. Normally, we organize in March a retreat where we're able to come all of us together. So in March, we'll be having one for all of us. In August, we're having one purposely for the graduation, but also we'll be having a team building and networking experience. So I'll share also the details on this on our group so that you can be able to sign up. If you feel you may want to join on board to join, you can sign in. I'll post the details. We encourage you to join because again, it will also be a learning experience as we also retreat and network. Otherwise, so far so good. I think we are doing well, and we thank the entire team. Thank you for your consistency. The book reviews, you are doing them quite well, and we appreciate for that. That's how we can maximally benefit from this program. In the next sessions, we'll put you in the groups now that we can now start focusing on the group projects. So we normally talk about 3 months, but actually the program goes very fast. The moment we start the projects, time will just be flying very fast, and within no time, we'll be at the tail end of this program. Otherwise, thank you so much. We may not engage so much today, but I'm sure that you've been able to pick something that we can apply and something that we can be able to change, and maybe something that we can also be able to teach the people that we are leading out there. Otherwise, let's just pause there for today. And unless there is a comment and there is an observation, I may want to close there. On the chat, Richard, you are saying thanks so much for your commitments. We appreciate that. Thank you too, as a team. Is there any commitment, any feedback, any observation? I know we have some alumni with us today. We have Mr. Mwangi, Bernard Mwangi. Maybe Mr. Mwangi, you can just say hi as we close.
Hello, leaders. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the session. I'm refreshing very well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Mwangi, for your consistency.
Yeah, blessed week ahead.
Amen. Thank you so much. Mr. Edwin, you're saying thanks, Mr. Gidiomi and Kiarie. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah, so we can post there. Fred, quite educative today. Thank you, Chairman. Justus, thanks much for the opportunity. Yeah, we appreciate, and we are grateful too for getting time to hang out with us and just be able to learn together. So I'll want to request that we all unmute and share the words of grace as we close. So we can unmute and share the words of grace together.
May the grace
of
Our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God,
and the
The
fellowship
fellowship of the Holy Spirit
Spirit
be with us
be
now
with us now
now
and forevermore.
forevermore. Amen.